रंग मन में दिखाए, प्रकाशित हृदय में ईश्वर। श्वास तुझ में ही समाए, साचा रूप साचा रंग मन में दिखाए, प्रकाशित हृदय में ईश्वर।
सहना भवतु सहनौ पुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। Together we will chant Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, verses 11 to 20.
अथैतदप्यशक्तोऽसि कर्तुं मद्योगमाश्रितः सर्वकर्मफलत्यागं ततः कुरु यतात्मवान्। श्रेयो हि ज्ञानमभ्यासात् ज्ञानाध्यानं विशिष्यते। ध्यानात् कर्मफलत्यागः त्यागात् शान्तिरनन्तरम्। अद्वेष्टा सर्वभूतानां मैत्रः करुण एव च। निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः समदुःखसुखक्षमी। सन्तुष्टः सततं योगी यतात्मा दृढनिश्चयः। मय्यर्पितमनो बुद्धिः यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः। यस्मान्नो द्विजते लोकः लोकान्नो द्विजते च यः। हर्षामर्षभयोद्वेगैः मुक्तो यः स च मे प्रियः। अनपेक्षः शुचिर्दक्षः उदासीनो गतव्यथः। सर्वारम्भपरित्यागी यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः। यो न हृष्यति न द्वेष्टि न शोचति न काङ्क्षति। शुभाशुभपरित्यागी भक्तिमान्यः स मे प्रियः समः शत्रौ च मित्रे च तथा मानापमानयोः शीतोष्णसुखदुःखेषु समः सङ्गविवर्जितः तुल्यनिन्दास्तुतिर्मौनी सन्तुष्टो येन केनचित् अनिकेतस्थिरमतिः भक्तिमान् मे प्रियो नरः ये तु धर्म्यामृतमिदम् यथोक्तं पर्युपासते श्रद्दधाना मत्परमाः भक्तास्तेतीव मे प्रियाः.
So as promised, anyone has any questions on chapter 9? We concluded the yajna, and so we had promised that on Sunday we'll take questions, if any. Do you have any questions?
Ma'am, one question, ma'am. It's a long articulated question. The answer may be very short. What the 9th chapter said, I mean, I've tried to do a little bit of manana on that, but not extensively as I should be putting in. It's very easy. What you basically said was everything is comprised of spirit and matter, number one. It's very easy to understand on doing manana about the plants having life and matter, human beings, animals, etc. Very good. But when I come to my room and I see the wall, it's concrete. I understand its matter. One way of looking at it is, how does it have spirit? The answer that I thought could be that when there is an earthquake after 400 years somewhere, that's the spirit acting or something like that. Am I right? That's number one. And if not, how to move in that direction to understand how the wall in my room or the fan in my room or is a part of spirit and matter. That's the question.
Okay, so divide out this concept in your mind that spirit has got something to do with life. Take that out, that concept remove. Now let's go to your question. How do we see that spirit and matter is everywhere? Firstly, everything that you see, which means perceive, that means you see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it, any of the 5 senses. Anything that you feel as an emotion, and anything you conceive as a thought, all come under matter. Okay, so anything perceivable, feelable as an emotion, or conceivable as a thought is all matter. What is spirit? God knows. Only He knows. And whether He knows or not, also we don't know. Right? It is an unknown. It is X. The Veda says, who knows? Maybe only He knows. And maybe He too does not know. So I'm not saying anything on my own. I'm just quoting the Purusha Sukta from the Rig Veda. So everything perceivable, feelable, thinkable is matter. What is spirit? We don't know. But from everything that people have told us, those who have realized the self, everything that they have told us, anybody, anytime, who has realized the self, okay, they have all agreed on one thing. And I think all believers in the spirit or in God also agree with that, which is whatever that is. We don't know what it is, but whatever it is, it has to be infinite. Correct? Everybody agrees with that. There's nobody who disagrees with that. Suppose we accept that. See, one thing you can say, there is no God. then you're sorted. You don't have to answer this question. But if you claim that there is a God, there is a transcendental reality, there is some spirit, if you claim this, then you claim usually that this thing, whatever it is infinite. Infinite means it is unending. Unending in every direction. That means it is all pervading. If we accept this, then everything, whether it is a human being you see, an animal you see, you plant you see, or the concrete wall and the fan and the AC in your room, all of it has to have the spirit. Whether you're seeing a garbage dump or you're seeing Tirupati Balaji, the same spirit has to be equally everywhere. Because you already said it was infinite in all directions. So therefore, it is there. Now, what has this got to do with life? Nothing. Because some things where the spirit is, has life, and some things where the spirit isn't, doesn't have life. Okay, so if you look at the walls and the fan and the mountains and the stone and the beaches and the water and all that, it doesn't have life. But it has the spirit. So life is not caused by the spirit. Life is caused by the presence of the mind and intellect. Just as electricity doesn't cause light. Neither does the body of the bulb cause light. Right? Only when there's a fuse there, it causes light.
Madam, could we put it the other way, that anything from microcosm to macrocosm is Brahman? That's one way. And the other one is gulp it for the time being till you reach that level to be able to understand. That's the another way of looking.
Why? But unless you deny the infinitude, why is this logic not working?
No, I don't deny that. I accept that. Only that life portion was not getting across to me.
Which portion?
Life matter, wall, life. That's, as you said, it's everywhere. So I have for the time being, accept the fact that this is also spirit. Till we reach that level, as you said, the realized souls have said, till we reach that level, we have to accept it and move along and do the karma yoga, bhakti yoga, and the jnana yoga and try to
accept anything. It has to be something that you have not yet rejected. You cannot accept.
I have not rejected. Yes. Not rejected. Thank you, madam.
Namaste, madam. Madam, my question was, ma'am, in one sloka, he says, God is equal to father, representing spirit, and mother, representing matter. Then grandfather and all, madam, but basically I confine myself to only this, madam. Father is equal to spirit, mother is equal to matter. So in physics, I study E is equal to mc square. That means energy can be transformed into matter, matter can be transformed into energy. That Einstein's theory of relativity is there, ma'am. My question, and I also understand, madam, that matter is equal to this Sthula Sharira body plus Sukshma Sharira mind and intellect. I don't know what is current Sharira, but this is all matter only. Now also you are clarifying that this is only matter. Only thing is one is gross and another is subtle, but otherwise it is all matter only. So now the one who is putting this question is also part of matter only. Now, what is suffering, madam? Because all this basically the motivation is to be free from suffering. I don't want to have any suffering and be in peace. So who is suffering? Spirit is obviously not suffering. So now some suffering must be part of matter only. So in the matter, I am having three things. Body suffering is obvious. And so that means the suffering comes to mother, that is matter.
Right. Because suffering is what? Suffering is an emotion in the mind. We're not about the body, but as you suffer pain, emotional pain, whatever suffering you have, somebody passed away, somebody went away from you, you didn't get something you want. This is all part of the mind, right? All feelings are part of the mind. So mind is part of matter. So therefore, suffering is part of matter.
Why, madam? What is the purpose of this suffering? I don't know. I don't. Why that in this Srishti, when everything is Bhagavan, only Bhagavan, that is that unknown spirit, then why this suffering?
Because you don't know everything is Bhagavan. The day you find it out, there is no suffering. It is like, suppose I take a cage, or 2 foot by 2 foot cage, and I squeeze you into that cage. You will be like, oh, constricted, restricted, suffering, no? But the moment you step out of that cage, you will be normal again. So you're saying, why am I suffering? Because you have gone into a cage. Come out of the cage, there is no suffering. So if I put you in the cage and I lock up the cage, then you will say, what can I do? You put me in the cage. But when you yourself go into the cage and lock yourself up into it, and then you claim suffering, and you say, oh, I'm suffering, I'm suffering. So the sages say, okay, you locked it, you open it, you step out of it. Put one leg out at least. Then at least you will feel somewhat better. But you say, no, I will stay in my cage and I will say, you're giving me suffering. Abhi, what can anyone say? So the reason there is suffering is because we don't understand our full stature. And we are not willing to live up to our full stature. And the moment you understand this, where is the suffering? There is no suffering.
So suffering, the Janma Mrityu, Jara Vyadi, Dukkha Dosha, Anudarshanam is there now, madam. It means no one can escape the having been born in this matter dimension. So I have to, I don't know, a point comes when I leave. Meanwhile, that Janma, Mrityu, Jara, old age, Vyadi, disease, and Dukkha, Anudarshanam. So suffering seems to be inevitable now, madam.
Of course. Suffering is inevitable because you're in the cage. They are trying to tell you, leave the cage. You're saying, no, no, I'm very happy here. To which they are saying, Are Anudarshanam, take darshanam. Take proper darshanam. You are in a cage. You are miserable. Then you're saying, oh, why am I miserable? You shouldn't be miserable. You should be joyous and happy and reveling and having a great time with life. Have fun with it, like Krishna has fun with life. You send 25 demons to him, does he get tension? Oh my God, demons have come, demons have come. No. Aajao, demons aajao. Let us have some fun together. People will do things to you. You enjoy life. No. Aao, jo bhi demons aane aajao. It's just like when Agassi goes to play tennis, he's happy if you send him difficult balls. No? He's not unhappy. He's not saying, oh my God, look at this Djokovic. He's so horrible. He sent me such difficult serves. Does he say that? He says, I really enjoyed the game because I was playing Djokovic. So when you do realize you are not in any cave, you are not bound in any way, you are the self. It's not a fruit. What suffering? Who can cause us suffering? Who has the power to cause us suffering? Just not possible. But as long as you are in the cage, he's just drawing our attention to the fact that it's telling you, you are in the cage, you're suffering, please step out. That's what he's. You're saying no, now you're saying suffering is a given. Yes, suffering is a given as long as you're in the cage. You will never be comfortable as long as you're in the cage. But we don't recognize that. We say, no, I will be comfortable in my cage, just give me a little ice cream. Then when you have a little ice cream, you feel very nice. Then again, that discomfort starts. They're saying, look, it's inevitable. As long as you're there, you will be unhappy.
What helps me, madam, like you told me karma yoga I should do, otherwise no use. Then that emotional element also should be there. And intellectually trying to understand it logically is also essential. So this is all part of the matter only, na, madam.
Yes.
There is no matlab that spirit unknown thing doesn't have any krupa or mercy on me. It doesn't help me out. No shortcut. That I have.
No, it doesn't help you out.
So I go to you. Like some punya comes to me. I don't know what happens. So that I once for all free from all that. That doesn't happen. Means effort, struggling is compulsory, inevitable.
Yes, sorry to tell you that, but yes, you will have to open the door and get out of it yourself. See, your friends will come to the cage and they'll speak to you very sweetly. They will say, oh, this happened, that happened. You're temporarily entertained. So some people will come and be rude to you while you're in the cage. So you say, I want to be with the people who are sweet to me. I don't want to be with the people who are rude to me. Arey, get out and walk. You can go wherever you want. So nobody can help you. You have to come out of the cage yourself. Nobody can come there and start pulling you out. No, it can't be done.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
I think in one of the chapters is lift yourself by yourself.
That's correct.
You
Chapter
have to
5.
do it yourself.
You do it yourself. Do it yourself or don't do it. Either way, the buck stops here. Deep Raj. That's why we say Ram Naam Satya Hai. The pranas have left, but the spirit is just the same. Yeah, this is for the previous, right? Yeah. Mukesh Pacharya, you had a question?
Yeah, good morning, Dr. Chankyji. Just a quick one on, I think it was verse 3 and 4. There were two contradicting things Krishna was saying. One is saying, everything is in me, I'm not in them. And then he says, but they're not in me either. So can you please elaborate on that? Because I was a bit confused on that. Thank you.
So next time you have a question directly pertaining to a verse, bring the verse with you so that it becomes clear. Otherwise, it becomes a bit diffused. Okay, so in this case, he says everything is in me, and then he says everything is not in me. So everything is in me is just like, suppose there is a desert, and the desert is talking to you. And in the desert, you're seeing a mirage. You know a mirage, right? You're seeing water in the desert. So the desert says to you, this water that you're seeing is in me. You're seeing the mirage in the desert. Then the second statement that mirage makes is, but there is no water in me. In that sense, he is saying, take the example of the rope and the snake. There is a rope lying there. It is dark and you think it is the snake. So the rope tells you the snake that you're seeing, imagine this rope is talking to you. It tells you this rope that you're seeing is in me. Correct, right? The rope that you're seeing is in, the snake that you're seeing is in the rope. And then the rope says, but actually there is no snake in me. Because actually I'm a rope where you are seeing a snake. There's no snake really there. So similarly, the Lord tells us that whatever phenomenon you're seeing here, it is all in me. But there is nothing in me. There is the self and the self alone. The truth alone exists. If you're seeing something else, you're seeing something false.
Ranki ji, may I?
Yeah, 1 second. Just let me finish. Are you okay with that? You have to sort of digest the idea a little bit.
Yeah, it took, I'm trying to still reflect on that. I just didn't get around this, but I still need to understand it for myself. Yeah, but thank you for clarification. Thank you.
Momita?
Chapter 9, it is like some sort of a consolation and an exhortation.
I can't hear you. You'd like some sign of?
Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, slightly better.
I said chapter 9, it is kind of a consolation and also an exhortation for the reader to not suffer, like to point out our avoidable suffering. Is that it?
Yeah, point it out and show the way to get out of it. And you need not ever say avoidable suffering, because all suffering is avoidable. There is no suffering that is descended as an act of God on us.
And what does it mean to say that we chose it? We chose this suffering and then we are complaining about it.
Yeah. It means that you start thinking of something. Okay, you start just randomly thinking of something. You went to the beach, you saw a pretty shell. You could have said pretty shell and continued your walk. You didn't do that. You picked up the shell. You said, oh, what a beautiful shell. This is so wonderful. Then everybody who passed, you showed the shells. See this shell, I got the shell. It's so beautiful, isn't it? And everybody around you also said, so beautiful, so nice. And then somebody said, I don't know why you think this shell is so good. I have one which is at home, which is very, very nice. Now, how will you feel when you hear that?
I chose the suffering.
You had no suffering. You were walking nicely. Then somebody happened to, then you picked up a shell you got nothing in the world to do with. Then somebody says something bad about that shell, which is, he has an opinion. Why should he not have the opinion? And now you're very upset. Then you go home, you tell your spouse or your child or your friend, oh, you know, that person, he's such a stupid person. He said the shell is not good. From now on, I'm not going to invite him to my parties. And this can start a whole samsara of like what happened here. Okay, so in actual terms, what happens is, I mean, this is an illustration, but what happens in actual terms is, every time we start thinking of something, we create desires, we create actions, those actions have repercussions. So instead of that, if you function in life like that, you are leading yourself to suffering. So what do you do instead? You place for yourself a higher goal, a higher vision, and you work towards that. To which naturally you will say, and I'm working towards that, the same problems will occur. Same problems will occur, but less of. Because when you place a higher ideal in life, the quantum of desires reduces. So your probability of pain reduces. And if you keep on raising it and raising it and raising it till you reach the ultimate desire for self-realization, if you go about it methodically like that and desires methodically reduce, then you release yourself from the pain completely and thoroughly. So that's what he said. Ananyas chintayanto ye jana paryupasate. That's the central verse of the Gita, right? Ananya, no other thought. Just no other thought. I'm going to think of the self and the self alone. Paryupasate. And work in that direction, not just sit in my bed and think. Work in that direction. Tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. I will give yoga and shema. Means you will realize this. So it is consolation, it is exhortation, and it's also the path. What do you have to do? And it also tells you, don't please worry about where you are right now. How bad the situation is, don't even think about it, because you have a clear path out of it.
Okay. Thank you, Shanti.
Uttara?
Janki ji, this is not really about the text, but a very fundamental question. Is it the right place to ask, or is it the right time to ask?
Yes, please.
So I just wanted to ask you, you have been saying that mythological stories like Mahabharata, Ramayana are just allegorical, meaning just we have to derive the meaning and not really think that it has. So if we say that that has not happened, then how do we say that Krishna spoke Gita during Mahabharata and that war?
Okay, so we don't have to go from one extreme to the other extreme. We don't need to say it didn't happen. All we are saying is we are not making a comment on whether it happened or not, because that is not the realm of philosophy. That is the realm of historians. Historians have to tell us about Rama or Krishna, historical figures. So we are not saying it didn't happen, because we are no one to say it didn't happen. We are no one to say it did happen, because that is not our field of study. Somebody whose field of study it is should tell us. So we are not saying it did not happen. We are just saying we are not commenting on that, because we should not comment on things that we cannot be sure about. Now, you can always say that there is this book. There is a book. We know there is a book. We know that it's all over this country. And it's large. It is, except for one verse, the same all over the country. And it has been commentated upon by Shankara from the 8th century. So it was there then as well. Okay. So we know there's a book. We know that there are various commentaries on this book. So we know it's there. So if it's there, somebody said it, somebody wrote it. Whoever said it or wrote it has to be Krishna. I mean, it has to be a realized soul. So we are not commenting on it. Now you may say, but then how do we know about Krishna or something? I mean, like, why is Krishna even spoken about? Think about what Shakespeare has done. Shakespeare takes a character, Julius Caesar. He takes the stories of his life. Okay, that he was brutally murdered. He was murdered in Parliament. He was murdered by these people. He had a friend, Mark Antony. And Mark Antony, there's historical evidence for all this. Now, can you say that this speech that Julius Caesar, that Mark Antony has at the death of Julius Caesar, the famous one, friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. Can you say for certain that Mark Antony said that? Bichara, Mark Antony didn't even know English. He mustn't have heard of English. I'm not even sure English existed at that. So obviously he didn't make that speech. But the author puts that in his mouth to communicate an idea, to communicate how this mob hysteria can take place, how the mob can take the law in their hands, and how they make errors with that. Because after that, the whole thing fell apart. So it is not a history that he's trying to communicate to us, though he has used historical figures and historical incidents, but he's trying to communicate an idea, a concept to us, which may have been exactly what Vyasa did as well. We don't know. We are not commenting, but we know that this has been done by various authors, and it is possible that historical people, historical events were taken and their stories told to us in a way that we will learn something. That's possible. That's a possibility. So we're not saying it didn't happen. We're saying no comment on whether it happened or not.
So it is just portraying that the relevance was there then, and it is relevance is still now, and it will be relevant even in future. That's all. So
yeah, is saying that. It is saying that. It is saying there is stuff for us to learn and telling us a story. Homer also did that. And everybody has used historical figures and woven a allegorical story around it. It's not an unusual thing in literature. Anyone else has any questions? Yes. All our new friends. I'm not, nobody. The Yagna wants to ask a question. All good. Okay, so welcome all those who have joined us now from the Yagna. As far as this class is concerned, we are on chapter 12. We did verse 16 the last time we had met. And these lovely verses are about the qualities of a bhakta. Who is a bhakta? Who is this person who should be called a devotee of God? And who is giving us this? Who is telling us this? Not you and I, but the Lord himself. Who are the people that the Lord accepts as his devotees? And how does he tell us about these devotees? By saying these people are close to me. Means they are dear to me, they are close to me. Meaning these are the people who have approached me, have come closer to me. Intellectually speaking, it means those who are closer to self-realization. Emotionally speaking, those who have approached the Lord, who have gone closer to Him. So verse 16 told us, the first quality of verse 16 is anapeksha. Anapeksha means no apeksha, no want. A spiritually developed person is a person with fewer desires. If we go back to that example which we had discussed earlier in the class today, about being in a cage, entering a cage of our own will and volition. We enter a cage. We are trapped in that cage. Now, in that cage, we come up with many solutions for the problems we are encountering. We say that, if I had an ice cream, I would be so happy. If I had a book to read, I would be very happy. If my Bhagavad Gita lectures I could listen to, I would be very happy. We come up with solutions to our problems. A bhakta, a developed person, is one who's figured out that all these solutions that I've come up with, they are no solution. They will give me temporary solace, and I will be exactly where I am. I am still in the cage. No solution is any solution. He has got it. And therefore he's anapeksha. Therefore he has no wants. It is not that he has no wants in the sense he doesn't he feel hungry, doesn't he feel thirsty? Yes, he feels hungry, he feels thirsty. Does he have a house to live in? Yes, of course he'll have a house to live in. Does he get married? Does he have children? Yes, he can get married, he can have children. The point is that no matter what he does, he has understood the solution to my issue is none of these things. Once you understood that, none of it, no more ice creams, no more books, no more family, no more friends, no more money, no more cars, no more promotions, none of them is going to solve my problem. So does that mean that now he will go off to the Himalayas? No, because he knows that even going to the Himalayas is not going to solve my problem. Nothing is going to solve my problem. There's only one way out of this. I have to step out of this cage. Everything else is just a waste of time. But I'm here. And because I'm here now, I have to do some things. I'm in this cage. I might as well keep this cage clean while I'm in it. So I do whatever is required. I deal with whatever is required. I can make my cage comfortable also for myself while I'm here. But I know my solution is just to get out. So that strong feeling is known as mumukshatva. Mumukshatva is the desire for liberation. The feeling that this is the only solution. There's no other solution. I can do everything else. I can go for a cruise to the North Atlantic. I can go for I don't know what. I can buy myself a Rolls Royce. I can get a Learjet for myself. I can go and watch Wimbledon. I can, whatever anybody thinks is exciting and worth doing. I should get married. I should write a book. Whatever you think, do it, please. But it will not solve your problem. That's what we have to get. That is what it means, anapeksha. Anapeksha doesn't mean that he will not earn money and he will not get married. It means he's understood the solution to my problem is something else. Suchihi. Suchihi means cleanliness. You notice this was a common quality between the bhakta and the jnani. Suchihi is to be pure, to be clean. And this has to happen at every level of the personality. Our external environment must be clean to begin with. If the whole house looks like a junkyard, please do not call yourself a bhakta. I mean, you can keep the house a junkyard, that's your business, but don't call yourself a bhakta. If every wall, I don't know if you've seen some people, every wall has a dozen pictures, very unaesthetically placed all over, right up to the ceiling of God. Doesn't. You can do that, but don't call yourself a bhakta, because there's no suchi here. So, cleanliness, aesthetics, everything neat, tidy, organized around us. Now, this is not simply very, such so spiritual, they keep their houses so clean. It's not just that. It is the more clean you keep your house, the more tidy things are, the more organized everything, your desk is, your house is, everything. Straight away, the advantage you get is, you know what? You create time for yourself. Just think about this. Every morning, if you have to go hunt for your toothbrush, how much time will you waste? And that's what we do, right? Where are my headphones kept? Where is my telephone kept? Oh, my socks. Where are these socks? I'm looking for these socks. Why are they not all in the same place every day? I can't find a pen. You know how many people cannot find a pen in their own house? They're actually, Americans are very good at this. They did a study on how much time Americans spend in hunting for things. You can read up that study. I mean, amazing. They actually studied this. This is one very good thing about them. They go and study anything and everything. So they studied how many hours Americans are spending in looking for things. It's somewhere between 10 minutes and 50 minutes, I think. Just imagine that. That is how much time we are wasting on a daily basis. So first thing is, everything has to be organized. If you need a piece of paper, you must know where that paper is filed. If you need to find your pink bindi, you must know where your pink bindis are kept. Everything, you have to know where things are in your own house, not somebody else's house. You don't have to go and clean up somebody else's house, but in your own house, you know where what is, right? So, first quality of a bhakta is neat, tidy, organized, clean. Second quality of suchi is physical cleanliness. Physical cleanliness doesn't mean that you had a good bath and you put on good deodorants and nice fragrance and gone to the parlor and done your hair. I mean, all that will come in external only. By physical, what it means is actions are pure. Pure actions means unselfish, noble, good actions. The pavitrata is not just external, right? I mean, in the environment, actions are all pure actions. Every time you have performed an action, it is because you have hoped to benefit somebody or something. I mean, it's for the other person. You just don't do anything for yourself. Then emotional cleanliness. Emotional cleanliness means no agitation, no ill will, no excitement, undue excitement, no, what is, this is the dirt at the emotional level. All the desires and the wanting and the craving and the greed and the agitations and the stress and the strain, this is all the dirt at the emotional level. And what is the cleanliness? That your heart only has love for everybody. You rejoice in the welfare of people. Anybody has anything nice happening in their life, you are more excited than they are. So happy. That is cleanliness at the emotional level. The mind is calm, peaceful, blissful. Then at the intellectual level, dirt is indecision, confusion, lack of clarity, being directionless. All this is intellectual dirt. And intellectual purity means you're a clear thinker. You have good decisions, good judgments. And at the spiritual level, dirt is vasanas. And purity is the self. So, suchihi, cleanliness at every level of the personality. Material, physical, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual. Dakshaha. Dakshaha is a very interesting quality because most people do not believe this. You have to actually read the Gita to read it yourself. Please, everybody, take cognizance of the fact that Krishna has said a bhakta is a dakshaha. Dakshaha means somebody who's skillful, alert, prompt, punctual. Not a, half marela admi. No, everything about him is so perfect. Everything he does is perfect. Everything he does is, if people will stand and say, oh wow. If he goes to the gym and lifts weight, people will say, wow. I mean, the whole thing is done so well. It's not how much he's lifting, but the grace, the dignity, the perfection of the action itself. Your action should be such, whatever action you're doing, it should be such that people stand and say, oh, if you're talking to somebody on phone, somebody else should just stand aghast. Wow, how well this person is speaking. If you pack something, you pack a bag, you pack a gift, people should look at it and say, oh, wow, that is called daksha. Everything, every expression of ours has to be skillful, alert, prompt, punctual. People don't understand punctuality. It's an amazing thing. In this country, punctuality, a plane will leave 15 minutes late and claim to be on time. It says, you're on time today. Yeah, but the time has gone 3 minutes ago. No, 15 minutes delay is okay. You tell somebody I'm coming at 11 o'clock. A Westerner will reach at 2 to 11 and ring the bell at 11. An Indian will wander in at 11:30, tell you how bad the traffic is, as if it's the first day in this city there was bad traffic, and then try to tell you about how all the various people of all the whole world, how many stupid things they did so that now today I am late. And this can be repeated day after day. So, alert, prompt, punctual. I don't know how much Vedanta we teach in these classes, okay? I don't know how much gets communicated. But one thing I think we do is teach people how to work. It's almost as if we go through education, we go through life without learning how to work. And if I'm proud of anything, I think I'm proud of the way the volunteers work over here. Everything you see, right? You don't see all these mistakes going on. It's a wonderful thing. It's nice to know that anyone who comes anywhere in contact with Vedanta first learns how to work. Because that is the quality of a bhakta. Dakshaha, you do it well. You make a commitment and you live up to the commitment. Not because anyone else requires it from you, but because that is you controlling yourself. Udasinaha. See, this is the interesting thing, how he puts one after the other. So you see, when he says suchihi, when you say, so it's all cleanliness, so to keep everything very clean. Okay, so some people are so good. I hate to say this, but there is a joke about Parsis. Please don't tell anyone I said that. But there's a joke about Parsis that their cars are kept perfectly. They will spend 3-4 hours on the car on a daily basis. There was a man actually, superb. His car, even after 15 years, you see it, showroom condition. You will never know this was a 15-year-old car. And cleaning it means not like we clean it. We clean it. When we say clean it, what do? We send our guy down with a bucket and some cloth, and then he goes and does something to it, and we are happy with it, and we call it clean. And some of us who are a little more careful, okay, occasionally we get it a little waxed or we clean up the seats. Not this gentleman. When he said clean, he meant that it's clean from, like there's nothing. It's like he would go into the bonnet and clean, go down, open up things, clean it, everything. It's like it's short of having plastic on it. It will look like it's just come out of the showroom. But cannot earn money, cannot sustain his family, doesn't get along with his wife. But car is superb, right? So when you read Suchi, you may think like that, oh, spend so much time keeping everything clean that you can't do any action. So he says, no. Dakshaha, your actions have to be dakshaha. Everything about you has to be skillful and prompt and, perfectly done. You understand? But now when we start doing the action properly, it is very possible that we get very involved. People who are very committed get blood pressure over it. So he says, udasina. Can you do all this? You do your action perfectly. You do it, you leave no stone unturned. But udasina means unconcerned. This is where the difficulty lies. There are many people in this world who can be daksha, who can be suchi, who can be daksha, but then they slip up at udasina. There are many people also who are udasina. Udasina means it's okay with them. Everything is okay with them. But then they are not suchi. There's no dakshata. So, the juxtaposition of these is also sometimes very interesting. You have to work as if your life depends on it. But not even your smile depends upon it. So when it comes to work, you have that commitment. But when it comes to mental, you really don't care one way or the other. This is what we have to try to attain. And when you have that, your gata vyataha means you have no vyathas, you have no troubles in life. Like Krishna has no troubles in life. In spite of the fact that he is he's in front of Arjuna in the war. And every warrior there is trying to kill Arjuna. And therefore every arrow has to pass Krishna to go to Arjuna. Untroubled, makes no difference in his life. You try doing that. You think, oh, that's no much. He didn't have much to do. He just had to drive the chariot. Oh yeah, try driving the chariot and see. Gata vyataha. He's unconcerned, untroubled. If you're not concerned, how are you going to be troubled? What are we troubled by? We're troubled by what will happen. We're troubled by what has happened. If we are always, what is going to happen? What has not happened? Constant. It's constant in our minds. So he's untroubled. Yeah, Mommy.
So is Krishna driving the chariot a metaphor for the intellect? Like our intellect is always facing all the troubles, and we reach that state where our intellect should not be troubled.
Correct. Yes, it's a metaphor. It's a metaphor from the Katho Upanishad where he expresses it. He says so. And then in the Mahabharata, he shows it in this story, in the description of the story.
Okay.
So though your intellect is front-lining everything, it is always unconcerned and untroubled. it also doesn't mean that your mind doesn't occasionally say, oh my God. It is that no matter what your mind says, your intellect is not affected by it. It continues its discrimination perfectly. Sarva is explaining it even further. Sarva Rambha Parityagi. Sarva Arambha. Arambha, beginning. All beginnings, Parityagi. Parityagi means he's done tyag, he's left it. Now, many people read this to mean that acha jo chal raha hai usko chalne do, but we shouldn't start something new. Okay, jo business hai wo theek hai, wo chala lete hain, but we won't start another business. Or we have one child, it's okay. Now don't have another child. Or we bought one house, so don't buy a second house. It doesn't refer to any of it. The scriptures do not place any kind of restriction on our growth. And how do we know this? Our country was the most prosperous country. There is no restriction on obtaining and enjoying prosperity. There is no reason for this restriction. Now we have got ChatGPT. We've got artificial intelligence. So shall we stop here now? No, let us find new things and better things. Why not? At every stage, we must try to improve and get better things and do better things and actually create initiative. So this is not referring to what most people think of Sarva Rambha Parityagi. Sarva Arambha Parityagi. What it is referring to is not what you start. What it is referring to is our belief that we have started things. Now think of a person who made ChatGPT. He can come up to us and say, I made it, or my company made it. This notion is erroneous. Because for him to make ChatGPT, somebody has already done something in AI. Who has done it because somebody has already done something in terms of this software, who was able to do it because somebody had done something in terms of the hardware, who else could do it because somebody had gone all the way back and discovered electricity. So our belief that we have initiated is an incorrect belief because we are all just dwarfs standing on the shoulders of giants. Something in terms of the hardware. Do it because somebody had gone wrong and discovered it. We're all just dwarfs standing on the shoulders of giants. So why are you talking like this? Why are you saying I did this and I did that? That is not supposed to mean that you don't do it. You please do it. Because we have all enjoyed the benefits of the work our predecessors have done. We have enjoyed everything. We've enjoyed the electricity, we've enjoyed the air conditioners, we've enjoyed living in good buildings, we've enjoyed everything. And now it becomes our responsibility to add on to all of this and to create a better world for everyone around and for future generations. Because we've enjoyed it, so it becomes our debt. It's called our Manushya Run. We have a run towards Manushya because we have enjoyed the benefits of being humans. So, of course, we have to start. But our belief that I am starting is an erroneous and foolish belief because it's certainly not true. Momita. The chairman of ChatGPT, when asked what he firmly believed in, said, I believe that Atman is in Brahman. Oh my God. That's amazing. But Momita, when you talk to him next, please tell him that Atman is not in Brahman, Atman is Brahman. He has to take one more step forward. Okay, but amazing that he even knows these words. Everything is us developing on something. if they are making electric cars now, it is a development of somebody's already made a car, which was a development of somebody who had already made a carriage. That's why, even today we talk about, I think even today we talk about cars in terms of their HP, we talk about their horsepower. Okay? Why are we talking of their horsepower? There ain't no horses there. But it's a fallback from those carriage days. And that chap could make a carriage because somebody had already made a wheel. Okay, so suppose I can make dal makhani. Aditi, you must be making dal makhani nicely, no? Okay, so suppose Aditi makes dal makhani because somebody has made that urad dal to begin with. I mean, grown it, figured out how to grow it, then come up with a recipe for dal makhani. Then somebody made tomatoes and somebody made the masalas. So this belief that we are the doers, that we are the beginners, that we have done this, that is what he's talking about. Please, please, please don't take it as not to initiate, because that would be terribly unfair. That we enjoy what other people have initiated, but we initiate nothing ourselves. That makes no sense. We have to be all the time productive. We have to all the time be working. We have to all the time be prosperous, which will be the natural outcome of the fact that you're productive. How can you be productive and not prosperous? So we're constantly working for everybody. We're doing what is in the best interest of everything. So prosperity is just an offshoot of that. Okay, so we did anapeksha, no wants, because he understands the solution is not there. We did suchi, which is cleanliness, which is at the levels, not just external, not just material, but in actions, in emotions, in thoughts, and in spirituality. Dakshaha, perfection in action. Udasinaha, gatavyataha, untroubled and unconcerned. And Sarva Rambha Parityagi. And while you get all of this so perfect, you never think any of this was done by you, because factually, we are, sort of dwarf standing on the shoulders of giants. Yo mad bhakta same priyaha. Such a bhakta is priya to me, priyaha is dear to me. So that's it for today. We'll meet again next Sunday.
Hari Om.
Hari Om, Janaki ji. Thank you.
Hari Om, Janaki ji. Hari Om.
Thank you.
Thank you, Janaki ji.
Thank you, Hari Om.
Thank you.
Thank you.